So I've been using the HoverAir X1 Pro Max for almost 2 months now, and in today's video I want to share everything I like and don't like about this drone. Now, the first thing I really like with these smaller drones is of course the portability and ease of use that goes for the X1, the X1 Pro, X1 Pro Max, and also the Neo, that I can put these in my pocket when I'm on a hike and you just take them out, press a button, and I get the shot, which is fantastic. But the fact that I actually have more settings on this, I have this display here, which not only allows me to change between the different modes here, not that it makes a huge difference because the Flip and the Neo here tells me what mode I'm on anyway, and they also have different icons which lights up and basically shows me the mode I'm on. But the fact that I can actually go in and change the different sub settings here makes it so much easier when I'm traveling compared to having to connect to my phone and then change these settings. So that's a big plus for me. I also tested this as a travel drone, something I do with every single drone that I have, and I really had a great experience with the X1 Pro Max here. Even though I didn't have a dedicated RC remote controller, which I have with my DJI drones, I was still able to capture some amazing videos in the distance with my smartphone. Now, this is also where the first con comments. Not the actual flight experience, but the gimbal control. It's really hard to capture dynamic shots without a dedicated RC controller when you're using your smartphone with this, because you don't really have that dedicated scroll wheel like we have on the RC-N2, RC-N3, and the RC-2 controller. So you can't really fly in a circle and do a smooth gimbal tilt at the same time to create these epic shots. But I guess that's one of the takeaways with using a smartphone, but they do offer a dedicated remote which you can connect and use with your smartphone if you're interested in that. So I'll leave a link to that down below if you want to check it out. But for me, I just want to keep it clean and simple basically when it comes to these self-flying selfie drones, and occasionally get some aerial shots with my smartphone. Now, what I really like with the Pro Max here though is the ability to fly over water. I think this is what makes it so good for me and my use. Just being able to use a self-tracking drone without having to think about where and how you can fly is hands down the best experience I've had with this, and the best thing about this in my opinion. But you know, I was quite nervous when I did this the first time on my paddleboard, even though I've seen multiple videos where people take this out in the open. It's just something about doing it yourself and potentially losing $700, but I was quite impressed. I had such a blast when I took this out on the paddleboard, and an amazing experience when I used the follow mode and also side tracking. Now, I want to talk a little bit about image quality. The Pro Max here has a 101.3-inch sensor and is capable of recording videos up to 8K 30 FPS. 8K, that's a lot of pixels, and I mean, it looks absolutely stunning even in low light. But 8K is 8K. Most of us are used to 4K, and 4K is more than enough. And the reality is that I've actually been using 4K HDR at 30 and 60 FPS more often than I've used 8K. And the reason for that is that this is a flat color profile, which I can do so much more with. So it's easier to put my own custom touch to it, if you know what I mean, and apply my own custom LUTs, for example, and also get that more dynamic range because this profile is a 10-bit color profile. But if I'm capturing some basic establishing shots, for example, when I use my smartphone, these 8K videos looks outstanding, and not once have I felt like, oh, I wish this was better, I wish this was different. It's absolutely untouchable if you ask me. So it definitely has its place for my use, but if you consider getting the hover drone here and you don't really need that 8K resolution, you could get the same feature in the X1 Pro without the 8K and the 10-bit HDR for a cheaper price. But all in all, I had no regrets in getting the X1 Pro Max here over the X1 Pro. I think this is absolutely worth it. Now, of course, if you're a drone pilot like me, we can't really get past not talking about battery life, which is another downside with the X1 series. We only have 16 minutes of flight time, which is more than enough in most cases. I'm just talking from experience, but I just wish it was a little bit longer. At least 20 minutes of active flight time would make this so much better. I'm still able to capture everything I need though, so that's not the problem. It's just a little bit annoying having to land frequently to change the batteries, especially when you're having a good time, you know. And having only 16 minutes also meant that I had to grab a fresh battery when I took this out on the paddleboard, just in case. I'm not sure I can hear these warnings when you have the wind blowing, you have the drone far away from you and it's over water. It's better to take the safe route and get a fresh battery for that. But 20 minutes, if they could just develop a battery which could last 20 minutes, that would be really, really amazing. But you also get about the same flight time with the DJI Neo here, just to put things into perspective. So if you're used to the battery coming from the Neo here and you want to upgrade to the ProMax here, for example, to be able to fly with water and all of that, you're gonna get about the same-ish flight time as you get with the DJI Neo. But that said, it's still not a bad thing. You get 60 minutes, it's more than enough, and you can always get some extra batteries. But like I said, I just wish it was a little bit more and hope they can make or develop a battery which has more juice to it. That would be amazing. But 16 minutes, few extra batteries, you will be able to capture most of what you need anyway. Now let's talk about features. What are the features that makes this so amazing? I mean, I already have the Flip here, I already have the Neo, I have the Mini 3, or this is the Mini 3 Pro, and I also have the Mini 4K here, I have the Mini 4 Pro, I have the Air 3S, I have the Avata 2. So what makes this such a great device from my perspective? Firstly, we have the compact size here. So this is about the same size as the DJI Neo here if we hold them sideways, so approximately the same form factor on these drones. And also, like I said earlier, the ability to fly anywhere without having to worry about flyaways is huge, even over water, which is a big deal for me when I'm out traveling. I really want to capture some drone videos on my paddleboard. So usually I just take the Mini 3 Pro or the Mini 4 Pro with me out on the paddleboard to track me, but that also means I have to carry around the RC2 controller, which is fine. In most cases this is easily doable, but being able to easily paddle out and have the drone track me without worrying about the controller being destroyed from salt water, maybe I hit a wave or something like that, it's just a huge plus for me. And that's where this drone comes in. It basically fills that gap without compromising on quality. And also the option to track from all sides, not only from the front or the back, but also sideways tracking on either side, whether this is left or right, has been a really welcoming feature. These are basically the main things that makes this a really great travel companion for my use. I would say the image quality is just a bonus, even though it makes the whole experience better, because when I get back home, not only do I see these amazing tracking shots, but the quality is also mind-blowing considering how small this drone actually is. When it comes to app features and settings and all of that, you can actually also go in and change that. Let's say you want to do an orbit. Usually these do a 360 spin with the DJI Neo and the DJI Flip here, but let's say you're in a tricky spot and you want to use orbit, you can actually go in and you can change this to different degrees. So you don't actually have to do the full 360 rotation, you can do 180 and you can also do a 90 degrees, which is pretty convenient and useful in situations where you need it. If you're going to use it all the time or a lot, I highly doubt that, but for the times you need it, it's really convenient. So after flying the ProMax here now for 2 months here at home and also out traveling on a family trip, vacation, honestly, I've had a really great experience using this. And I think my experience has even been better than expected from such a small company. So good job. Now, my favorite thing with this has been to fly over water and side tracking, especially flying over water. But that's not for everyone, and not everyone is gonna do that. But another thing is also motorcycle. So the motorcycle season is about to start here, and it would be really interesting to see how this tracks on a motorcycle and if I would be able to capture some cool videos with this one, maybe accompanied with the X4, the Insta360 X4 360 camera as well, but I guess that's for a different video. When it comes to all these drones though, I mean, we have so many affordable small drones now, and not to forget the X1 here, the original X1, which is also a solid option. But we have the Mini 4K, we have the Neo, we have the Flip, we have the Mini 3, not the Pro, but the Mini 3. So deciding between these drones is not gonna be easy. And I'm gonna say regardless of which one you're gonna get or have or want to buy, you know, you're gonna have a really great experience anyway, and your footage will be more than usable and more than enough for your needs probably. So that's my honest review, long-term review and use of the ProMax here after flying for a couple of months. Links to everything will be down in the description, and for color correction and grading I used my Signature LUTs, which you can find down there as well. And if you use the code DRONE, you're gonna get an additional 15% off for a limited time. So that's it for this video. Until next time, take care, fly safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.